The Behind Ears podcast crew would like to thank the following sponsors for their generous support. If you have a little one and you're going to Walt Disney World, you're going to need a stroller. I'll tell you what, KingdomStrollers.com is the place where you want to look into. I'll tell you, I've destroyed my fair share of strollers while at Walt Disney World, and those things are not cheap. But getting something from KingdomStrollers.com, they'll be able to help you pick out the perfect stroller for you. And the nice part is that because they're a Disney preferred provider, they'll be able to drop it off and pick it up right from your Disney resort at no extra charge. So if you don't want to necessarily destroy your stroller in the process and you want to have a great Disney vacation with your little one, contact KingdomStrollers.com and they'll set you right up. That's KingdomStrollers.com. Do you want to save around 40% off Disney's prices for deluxe on-property accommodations? Contact DVC-rental.com. They help out Disney Vacation Club owners rent out points that they're not going to use. These points mean savings for you on your next trip at Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Vero Beach, Florida, and Hilton Head Island in South Carolina. The DVC member books everything in your name, just like any other reservation. And if you ever decide that you want to become a DVC member, you can check out our sister company, BuyAndSellDVC.com. As a licensed realtor, they sell DVC contracts for members at a savings of 30 to 40% off Disney's prices. And if you're looking to sell your contract, BuyAndSellDVC.com has one of the industry's lowest commissions at only 6.5%. Again, that's DVC-rental.com for your rental needs and BuyAndSellDVC.com to buy or sell into the Disney Vacation Club at a large discount. And make sure you tell them that the Behind Ears podcast crew sent you.
We here at Expedition Roasters are incredibly thankful for all the love and support from our fans this year, especially our Behind the Ears podcast listeners. Your love of our specially themed coffees is what keeps us moving forward. 2018 was amazing because of all of you, and we can't wait to reveal what we have in store for 2019. So be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Expedition Roasters to keep up with all the latest events and specials. And to start the new year off right, we're also offering our Behind the Ears podcast listeners that have ordered with us before 15% off their next purchase through January with code EARS15. And first-time orderers can still take 20% off with code EARS20. That's EARS15 and EARS20 at ExpeditionRoasters.com. Brew, your happy place.
You're listening to the Behind Ears podcast, because everybody does Disney differently.
Welcome back, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Behind the Ears podcast. I am Uncle Danny, the man with the very long name over there. That is Mr. Chris on Twitter at Behind the Ears PC. We don't really tweet that much, so I'm a little shocked why he chose that one, but it's a Thursday evening. It's what would Mr. Chris call it today? A Friday Eve. Sir, how we doing tonight? And you're muted. Still okay, so we're gonna keep talking here. We are gonna do some fun stuff tonight. We had a long list of things to do on Tuesday, and we were talking from Scott from DVC-rental.com, and yeah, that conversation went way long. So we pushed some of the things back that we were, and today we're going to try to refill them. So let's see if Chris's mic is back up and running. And he's not. So what we're going to talk about is 2018 has come to a close. We are officially in 2019. And how many of you are right now have, honestly, come on, be honest with me, have written 2018 on some form of document up until today?
Not me. Not it.
Really?
Not it. Nope.
Oh, I have numerous times. And then you have to kind of like make the hard circle, make the 9 out of the 8. It works, but but like I said, we're going to talk about some of the things that the good, the bad, the ugly of 2018, some things we're looking forward to in 2019. So it seems like Chris has his mic back. Good. So Chris, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. I got a funny story for you.
Okay.
So I forgot to do something at work. And I forgot to actually, present something to a customer during a meeting. And I basically said to him on the side through some instant messaging, I said, should I go ahead and contact him on the side and fill him in on what I forgot? He goes, no, you can go ahead and forget about it. I said, okay, I'll go ahead and Elsa it. I didn't hear anything back. I didn't hear anything back from him the rest of the day. I wanted to go back. I wanted to go back and have him say, "Get it, let it go." I mean, he's got like a teenage daughter or something like that, so he should have gotten the reference. But I guess it didn't fall. It didn't fall right. But
we're just gonna pretend that didn't just happen.
Yeah, I kind of felt it was one of those things where it's like, yeah, that was a little bit of a fail, but it was fun. It was funny. I hope he laughed. When I talk to him tomorrow, I'll be like, hi. So I'm doing good. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the year in review, because I gotta be honest with you. I sit back here and I do a lot of the post show editing and put things out there and have it queued up to be published every Tuesdays and Thursdays for those of our podcast listeners. And we had some technical difficulties a little bit this year, some issues with our podcast host and stuff like that. And the fun part about it is that we are actually approaching 300 episodes now. I mean, seriously, dude, 300 episodes. We're like in the 280s right now. And I'll be honest with you. It's not that I never thought that we would get to 300 episodes or near 300 episodes. It just seems like those first dozen or so episodes happened yesterday. And that is just a big deal. I mean, we're pushing out nearly 100 episodes a year. And that's a lot of content, a lot of interesting things, a lot of goofy stuff, a lot of technical mishaps. But, it's been fun. So that was just one of the things I noticed as we ended the year. It was actually pretty much a trip in my mind's eye, at least.
No, it really has. Where do you want to start? I mean, do you really want to start in January and work our way through, or do you want to start with probably the biggest thing that happened to Disney World in 2018?
Well, I say that let's go ahead and talk about some of the biggest things that happened, but let's also invite our viewers tonight to go ahead and comment on what they thought was some of the biggest news, biggest events, biggest happenings in the Disney universe throughout 2018. And don't forget, everybody, we're not just talking about the parks or resorts or trip planning here. As you know, we talk about anything and everything Disney. And that can be the parks, Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Paris, whatever, the company itself, ESPN, TV, music, movies, you name it. Don't forget, we cover it. And we invite you to go ahead and comment below as to what you think some of the more interesting and top items of 2018 were, or maybe your favorite memory from some of the live shows that we have done in 2018 as well.
All right. I think we should start with the biggest thing then. And the biggest thing, come on. Toy Story Land open. And the lines were long. They were not as long as I thought they would be. It did get crowded as the summer went on, with some odd spotty days where we were seeing pictures and reports that it really wasn't terrible in the park, and then random days where it was just pure mayhem. But overall, I would say it was a successful park. It was a park that we, Chris and myself, both nailed it on the head prior to it opening. And what that alluded to was you're going to have people like me that are going to get caught up in the ambiance of what they built with giant, oversized Buzz Lightyears everywhere. But at the same time, it ended up being what we thought it was, and that was going to be definitely a park more geared toward the younger generation. Yeah. Now, Slinky Dog, as we, looking at the height requirements, the weight requirements, we were seeing that, maybe this is going to be a kid's ride. It ended up being, I would say, a little bit, granted, now, I have to be honest. If you're new to the show, I have not been there yet. March, here we come. But from the videos I've watched and the accounts that I've listened to from several people, it's not a barnstormer. It's not a child's roller coaster. It can be geared towards children, but it has a little bit of flair to it, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. And I would think that if you had to rank the most kid-friendly coasters in age of kid-friendliness, I think you have Barnstormer, you have Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and then you have Slinky Dog. And a sense of the thrillability and adaptability for adults as well. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. I think they did a much better job at the seating arrangement for the ride vehicle. Just a whole different ballpark, in my opinion.
Yeah. Some other things that, some smaller things that might have hit Hollywood studios that weren't that important, I guess. Let me rephrase that. Because I think anything that happens in Disney is important to somebody. And that's not like a cheap gimmick line. Like, that's the truth. I mean, listen, there's going to be people look at Toy Story and be like, and I'm like, And there's people that are going to go nuts for Star Wars, and I'm going to be like, that's for the business. It's for the business.
Well, also, and at the same time, there have been people that, I think in the beginning for Toy Story Land, we saw a lot of people really say they enjoyed it and they really liked it. There were a lot of people, not necessarily anywhere near half or anywhere near a quarter even, but there was a good chunk of people that didn't understand the theming because everything was outdoors. And of course it opened during one of the first hottest weekends of the summer. And it was kind of like, it really was hot. Between my wife and I, and hanging out with Chris and his wife, Chris Hiller, one of our great friends and our man on the street for the show, we hung out and we knew it was going to be possibly a 2-hour wait, and it ended up only being about an hour and a half, hour and 15 minutes, I should say. It wasn't that bad. It really wasn't too bad. But then you stopped and you thought about the theming, and you're like, yeah, the theming is ingenious. You are in Andy's backyard. If Toy Story Midway Mania is Andy's room, this is definitely Andy's backyard. And that's why everything was outside. Everything was open to air. Everything was not covered. It was Andy's backyard. And it was, and taking that into consideration, the theming is spot on perfect.
Yeah. Can we openly say this right now that 2018 did not have a lot of major things happen?
Outside of that?
Outside of the new land opening. There were subtle things, that we're going to go through here, but did we just kind of start at the top of the mountain and now there's a huge drop to what happens next?
Well, I think we saw a lot more preparations of what's to come. And that's why 2019 is so important for Walt Disney World. We saw a lot of different things close between the latter half of 2017 and, of course, then 2018. And we're starting to see things come up that is going to be happening in 2019 because, a lot of these things don't happen overnight. Take the closing of Ellen's Energy Adventure, which the funny part about it is that it was a ride that everybody hated, but no one wanted to see it go. Mm-hmm. And I'll say I'm one of them. I liked that ride. That needed a good refresh, but we talked about that on another show. Yeah. But we've talked about the Guardians of the Galaxy coaster that's going to be going up there. I think that is going to be really pretty awesome, but we'll have to see how it really turns out. Same thing for the closing of the Great Movie Ride, which we all know that caused a lot of havoc. There were a lot of people that didn't like that to happen. And, and there's not a lot of buzz going on about, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railroad. There's just not a lot of buzz about it. And I
think it's going to be like a pop-up. It's just going to open.
I'd like to, I want it to be a success. I really do. But some people are already complaining because of the style of animation. It's the latest generation of Mickey animation. And there's a lot of people that don't really care for it because it's not classic Mickey.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily mind it. I'm waiting to see what it looks like before I have any real judgment on it. I'll be really honest.
Yeah. Actually, touching on that same topic, once again, another small thing that might have happened. Toy Story Mania got its new entrance. Yep. And also, and this is, everybody's like, oh, well, that's irrelevant. That's not fun. You're right. But here's the next nice little tidbit. It got its third track, which I'm seeing a decrease in wait times.
Yeah, but it also had its third track last year. And it actually...
Oh, it did have it in 2017?
Mm-hmm. At least
but then they close it for a little while.
They did close it for a little bit. You are absolutely correct. So in that reference, you are correct. But also, I think even more so that now it's fully back open with 3 tracks, with wait times down to I'll say a average reasonable level, because you can't necessarily count like all the crowds during what happened during winter break. But also brought back the return of Mr. Potato Head.
Very true. That queue. That queue was awesome with Mr. Potato Head there.
I'll admit it. When I saw that Mr. Potato Head wasn't there, I felt like I was missing one of my favorite toys.
Might be one of my favorite queues.
I'd agree. I love that queue.
Very immersive.
And Mr. Potato Head was like, the icing on the cake.
He's the staple of that queue. Absolutely. There's a lot of subtle details inside that queue. And from what I was reading and what I'm hearing from everybody is there's a lot of those subtle cues actually in Toy Story Land when it comes to popsicle sticks and just the way like the pop would be melting on it, subtle things like that, that, a lot of people might not realize. What else we got here? The new adventures from new Star Wars films were added to the Star Tours. The adventures continue. A lot of speculation running around Star Tours of if it's going to stick around when Star Wars Galaxy's Edge opens, or if it's going to be a full, I don't want to call it a reboot, but maybe an overhaul into a more Star Wars themed attraction. I don't know. I
think they're going to keep it because it's too big of a spot with enough ride vehicles where it has a very large ridership per hour type ratio. And I think that makes a lot of sense for them to keep that there. It's kind of a classic, but not really a classic, if you kind of get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It still has a lot of staying power because they've been keeping it up to date. As Star Wars movies have been released, they've been adding those little features of those new releases into those, those programs. And I think it's kept it fresh. I really think it's kept it fresh. Not to mention the randomness. Yeah. It's one of those things.
Now, staying in Hollywood studios, looking beyond 2018, things to look forward to coming into this current year that we're in. You touched on a little bit already. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway attraction will open sometime in 2019.
I always heard it was supposed to be first quarter, early second quarter.
I heard fall.
Yeah.
Which would not be either of those quarters. So I don't know. Could it be spring? Maybe. Be kind of cool if it's spring and I'm down there. Get ready for me to rip that ride if it's not good. Get ready because
I would
that
love
was one
it.
of my favorite rides in that park.
I would love to have you have that since you weren't there for, pretty much the opening of Toy Story Land. I'd like for you to have that.
Yeah. Could Galaxy's Edge open in 2019? Probably not. I know I saw a blog post the other day. It was like, Star Wars themed hotel opened in 2019. I'm like, wait, what?
No.
What? They haven't even broken ground. What do you?
No.
Are you guys crazy? It's not even remotely close.
I mean, it's stuff like that. And then I hate to say this. That stuff gets out there into the Disney universe, and it's harder than heck to squelch it. Because how many times do you and I get pinged by different people saying, hey, did you hear this? Is this true? And we're like, 90% of the times, and I'm glad our listeners try to verify things with us to kind of squelch out the noise, so to speak. Because if we don't know, we try to find out. But how many times have we heard something like that and we're like, no, there's no way it's going to happen. It's not going to happen for quite some time. I mean, look how long it takes Disney to build any other hotel. And while this is supposed to be a smaller hotel with, 50, 60 rooms or something like that, from what we've been hearing, it's supposed to be a really small type of thing. It's like, it's still going to take a long time because it's supposed to be immersive and tech heavy.
Yeah.
I mean,
all right.
Those are things that we know, we've speculated all along.
We're going to move to Magic Kingdom here because I feel like Magic Kingdom had two of the most agonizing things happen, the two most controversial things happening, and the two things that kind of made you scratch your head at the same time, like, what is Disney doing? Let's start with, like, I would put the one, this is like a 1A. It was a big deal, but it wasn't my biggest deal.
Okay.
Talking Mickey gets taken away.
Why did everybody spaz over that? I mean,
because he was the only one, though.
No,
it is the only Mickey that speaks to you.
No, I get it.
I mean, I don't go wait for it, but it's kind of like Ellen's Energy Advent, like we talked about. I didn't go on Ellen's ride. I stopped going on that ride. I stopped seeing the Talking Mickey when I was like 6. It's just the point of, bro, you got to take away the one highlight here? And plus, it also drove people out of Main Street, which was nice.
No, okay, I'll give you that. I mean, the reason why I say it in that way, I don't mean to sound insulting or anything like that. It's just that, petitions went around and everything else like that in order to try to get, possibly bring it back up and so on and so forth. And I'm like, to meet Mickey, I mean, there were years that we met Mickey and he didn't say anything to us, but yet, he communicated in gestures and stuff like that. So let's see, going back there, Christina makes a good comment. I'm thinking that I'll target spring or fall 2020 to visit for new Star Wars land. Will love the opportunity to stay at the hotel when that's done, but not even holding my breath for the 2020 visit. I would agree with you, Christina. 2020 is not going to happen. For a hotel, that is. So, but, Chris says Talking Mickey needs to be returned. Many great memories have been made with these little kids. And I agree. I think he needs to be, but it's like people, I think, took it really too hard, because if there's one thing that Disney does is that they know what's good. And sometimes they take things away in order for them to come back later. That was what really I was trying to say.
What are you trying to build? Anticipation?
Well,
build like the more to drive people into the park?
Well, not just that. I think it's mainly an idea that there are some things that Disney does. They take away characters or features or this, that, and the other because they're trying to plus them. They're trying to make them better. And, that's one of those cases. And I think Talking Mickey's going to come back when, I have no clue. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is that I think people have to have a little bit of understanding instead of getting so excited about it. Yes, it would be really cool to see him again, but it's not going to be one of those things that's going to make or break a vacation. As I said, I think there's a lot of times we just don't see the full big picture of what Disney has in store, and it's going to be great when it finally comes back. Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the thing that I felt was the biggest slap in the face by Disney. Bye-bye Redhead. The Redhead was removed. Well, let me rephrase that, because she's still technically on the ride, but her controversial role on Pirates of the Caribbean was dubbed inappropriate. So after X amount of years, because I don't want to throw out the wrong number of years and have one of our fantastic listeners be like, oh, it was actually 3 years longer than that. They redo her whole sequence and it comes back out. Which I think, and Chris was the one, actually, Chris is still the only person that pointed out to me. And it is not talked about anywhere. They actually took a controversial role and made it a little more controversial depending on where you stand.
Because she's holding a rifle now and she's pointing it, downward type of. I'm sorry, and the only reason why I say it like that is because, around that time, there's been a lot of issues, a lot of things happening in the country that was in regards to, gun violence. And I just found it to be kind of interesting. I wasn't saying it as a criticism towards Disney, but as a commentary on an interesting choice. So that's kind of why I was thinking that. But yeah, I mean, it went from one controversial subject, to what could be another controversial subject, but no one has really said anything. I'm not even saying it as a controversial subject. I don't have an opinion. I really don't.
Yeah. Another small thing that might have happened that you might not even realize went down. Disney kicked off the Incredible Tomorrowland Expo with your favorite Disney Pixar superheroes, Mr. Incredible, Edna, and others from The Incredibles and The Incredibles 2.
That was fun, but I have to say this. Edna looked creepy.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, it was just totally Edna, darling. Which was, you did a fantastic Edna. But let me just say, the first time I saw her, I was like, whoa. So
I'm excited to see it. I have not been able to see it. Moving on over to, let's go to Epcot. Mission Space got the green mission, which, have you been able to partake on that yet?
Yes, I did last year. And so it's one of those cases where I liked it. I think it was really nice to have a separate mission for the green team. The interesting part to it is the removal of Gary Sinise and the insertion of Gina Torres as the Capcom. And the scripting itself is all probably 99% the same, just with she and other cast members. Having the green team do an Earth orbit flyby was kind of cool. Still had an action sequence, and it has an action sequence at the end. But overall, it was a good change. The only person that'll actually do the orange side with me is my daughter, and I still do the orange side, and I still think it's pretty good. But overall, they made some decent changes to keep it a little bit fresh, especially for those that do not wish to spin and possibly lose their lunch from Sunshine Seasons.
Yep. The American Adventure got refurbished, and they also got a new song.
I didn't see it. I didn't see it this year.
Neither have I.
So maybe sometime this year, but I would really like to see it. Problem of it is, my wife makes fun of me for this. The last time we saw it, it was the four of us. All three of us fell asleep, and my wife was the only one awake during the entire show. She's like, I'm not going to do it again. I'm like, why? She goes, everybody falls asleep when I was watching it. It's like my daughter, like, on her shoulder, she's like, yeah.
Some things to look forward to. Epcot is, this will not be ready until the 2021 for the 50th anniversary, but they have broken ground. So we feel like we will see things happening in 2019, not necessarily open, but they prepare for the new space restaurant over in Epcot, which another eatery in Epcot is always welcome to my book.
Actually, I clarify that. Another table service eatery that isn't necessarily associated with a country, which I think is,
I like that. I like the way you put that.
It's not associated with the country. Because let's put it this way. The only other one that's not associated with the country is Coral Reef, which I know we have a split difference between Danny and I. As people are watching, Danny is holding back the bile, thinking about Coral Reef, while my
Mission Space just spinning everywhere right now.
But while my experience with Coral Reef was much more palatable, and I look forward to going there again.
What else we got? I have my little list right in here. China Pavilion is getting an update for the new Seamless Circle Vision show. Once again, not a necessarily release date in 2019, but I would not be flabbergasted if it does come out in 2019.
I think that's cool. I mean, let's face it. Between some of the shows across the different countries, they can use some refreshing. And I think, especially with countries such as China or even Canada, some of the other shows that are going around, they all can use a little bit of refreshing because all the countries have changed, in the past decade or so since those were updated. And I would like to see them again. It would draw me to those countries more in Epcot and spend more time in those particular pavilions.
Okay. What else we got? France. We already started to see some building material put together for the new Ratatouille attraction, which is what we're hearing going to be based on the France ride, which is a semi-roller coaster, I guess you can call it.
Yeah, something to that extent. And the thing is, there hasn't been too much actually released as to what it's going to really entail, which, if you think about it, I'm okay with. I mean, granted, you can look it up over from Disneyland Paris, but I'm still okay with it. I think having some mystery to what it's going to be like is pretty good. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But I think, to be honest with you, people see that. But you know what they also see over there? One of the track risers for the Skyliner.
Very true.
And that's one of the bigger items that I think everybody is just dying to find out what it's going to be like. The gondola system that's going to go between Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and some, select moderate and value resorts, which I think I'm still the kind of person that's going to be quite, I'm going to be quite excited to see the gondola system go up. I'm going to really be looking forward to going on the Skyliner and giving it a try. I think that it's going to be interesting to see how that mode of travel is going to vary depending on time of year, as well as weather conditions, as well as crowds. Because I guarantee you something, if I have to wait 20 or 30 minutes to take, a gondola from point A to point B, I'm going to probably seek out other modes of transportation, especially if you want to go from Epcot to Hollywood Studios. And if you have to wait 20 minutes or something like that, you might as well walk it.
Correct. Once again, you could also be seeing, you're like, is that the gondola system? What is this? That could also be the new Gardens of the Galaxy ride over where they closed Ellen's Energy Adventure.
Which I think people are more surprised on how big it looks right now.
Yeah, but everything looks bigger until they start to put all the building materials on there. We have one interesting question.
What's that?
When do you all think the Skyliner system will be officially up and running? Any guesses? I mean, they're calling for 2019.
Yeah.
We were going to touch on this later, but we can touch on it now since we kind of just brought it up anyway.
I'm gonna, you know what? People have been saying post summer. People have been saying more towards the fall, and I tell you the truth, I believe it's going to be after the summer months. I know there hasn't really been a real official date with it yet. I just think they're going to take some time, probably in the summer, to do some soft testing. And I don't think it's going to be actually up for public consumption until after, after this summer. Yeah, and here's the funny part. I mean, we've got a couple of people saying, oh, it's going to be next year. Oh, it's going to be definitely this year. I just think it's going to be sometime in the fall of this year because they've made such good strides with it. Unless for some reason they run into snags during testing. Because darn good and well, Disney will not release anything unless it meets their expectations and it's going to be safe. Of course, I should say safety is going to be their number one priority. And I know everybody's been really concerned about that. Safety will be their number one priority. So we'll have to see what comes out of that. Do I think it's going to be up for Star Wars? I do think it's actually going to be up for Star Wars.
My guess would be between now and opening day. No, that was a Mr. Chris joke.
I'm thinking to myself, thank you so much. Plagiarism is the finest form of flattery.
I'm honestly gonna go way earlier than a lot of people are saying. I'm gonna say you're gonna see its first soft opening between Memorial Day and July 4th.
Too early.
I mean, they're already test running them.
Too early.
Okay.
But here's my thought. Here's my thought on this. You know why I think they're gonna do it? They're going to have the actual openings, the first guest after, the summer months. I think they want people to fall in love with it before their first summer month really has to hit. Because I think people have been so concerned over climate control. And I think the best way for them to start controlling it is when it's not necessarily so blistering hot. So we'll see how it goes.
Let's touch on the biggest news breaking out of Epcot, and that is that Illuminations will, in one form or another, be gone at some point this year. Whether it's fully gone, I've heard people say they think that they're going to do like an overhaul on it. I just think it's going to be a completely different show.
Well, the thing of it is that overhaul or no, Illuminations has had its series of overhauls, and especially over the years, it hasn't been the same exact show constantly running for the past 20 some odd years. It hasn't been that way. The soundtrack has changed, the storylines changed a little bit. So the fact of the matter is that it's experienced minor changes over the years. So my whole take on it is that, it's going to go. It's going to be reimagined. There's going to be a, kind of a filler show in between, which I'm kind of looking forward to. And, but it's going to be interesting, man. Your trip in March may be the last chance you actually get to see Illuminations in its current form. But you're not an Illuminations fan, so you don't give a crap.
No. Yeah, I don't. Let's move on to more pressing things in the wonderful Animal Kingdom. They did celebrate their 20th anniversary this year. And to bring celebration in, they came out with a new show, Up, A Great Bird Adventure.
And I think the bird adventure itself, I didn't get a chance to see it last year. I've seen some clips and so on and so forth. I didn't get a chance to actually see it this year. And, I think it's one of those shows that I always thought it was pretty cool. I thought the Flights of Wonder, show was good. It had a kind of a funny storyline to it, but the birds were fabulous. What?
Just the birds were fabulous.
Well, the birds were fabulous. They were. I mean,
you just kind of like smacked your head to the side and said that real quick. Like if Chris had long hair, it would have been all over the place. Like, there was a time I had long hair. I'm just going to go ahead and say that right now. But it was fabulous. It was really cool to see that sort of thing. It was kind of a pseudo attraction in such a way where it's like you can actually be really close with some of those animals and you get to learn some things. I mean, it was a really good piece of edutainment. That's just my 2 cents. My family liked it and I knew other people liked it. I haven't seen it since they've changed it with a little bit of an Up theme. So I thought some of the comments were kind of interesting. People didn't quite care for it. Birds are birds. I'm like, that was literally the best comment right there.
Yeah, that was.
I like it. I don't like it. And just like,
birds are birds. I like the comment.
Birds every day.
Yeah, I like it. But the thing is that I don't get to see too much of that. Maybe I also liked it because I found it to be a challenge to photograph.
Okay.
I had some fun with that.
So this next thing I have not been able to do. And Chris, me and you were about to get on a plane and go do this because I didn't know this was even a thing.
Okay.
Donald's Dino Bash opened at Dinoland USA. You know who they have there? Scrooge McDuck and Launchpad McQuack and others.
I told you.
What?
I told you about Launchpad because I walked past him in the rain, and I got a picture of him for you, and I don't know.
I might lose my bananas when I see these people.
But it was awesome because it was like walking through, like, oh my gosh, it's Launchpad! And it's like, the rest of my family's like, who's Launchpad? I'm like,
Launchpad?
what? I'm like, yeah, see, I knew eventually I was going to knock my Mickey over here. They're like, who's Launchpad? I'm like, are you serious? Who's Launchpad? It was actually really pretty cool. And I think they did a pretty good job with it. But I mean, Dino Land,
I just don't go in there.
People, okay, you either like Dino Land because you want to go to Primeval Whirl, or you don't like Dino Land and you avoid it altogether because there's more cheese in it than the state of Wisconsin. But I really liked it. I mean, I liked the Dino Bash. I liked what they tried to do with it. It added some flair to it. But still, it was just one of those things. I like it because of Primeval Whirl, or as we like to call it, Primeval Hurl.
What else we got over in Animal Kingdom? They also welcomed Nile, the hippopotamus. Hip hop anonymous. In August, he weighed, get this, 168 pounds at birth.
Wow.
Jeez. He's a big boy. Oof. And that basically wraps up your 4 gates. Touching quickly on Typhoon Lagoon, they had the H2O Glow Nights Thursdays and Saturdays that ran in I think June to August, later at night, 8 to 11, 8 to midnight, 9 to midnight, something like that.
Late to later.
Never got to do them. What?
Late to later.
Late to later. There was just a no sun. Some cool things that happened over in Disney Springs. The hyper reality experience, Star Wars Secrets of the Empire opened.
Oh, that was so good.
Yes, I knew you did that. We've talked. Actually, we almost did like a half a show on that the one day. The Wine Bar George opened, and the new Wolfgang Puck Bar. Is that technically open now?
It's open, I believe.
It is fully open. Okay.
Then you had Chicken Guy also open from Guy Fieri, which a lot of people liked. A nice little quick service, something that everybody can eat type of thing. But you also got to try out the Edison last year.
I wasn't there yet. I had one more.
Oh my gosh,
Cirque du Soleil show that draws inspiration from Disney's heritage of animation. Yes. The big thing that happened in Disney Springs was the steampunk style restaurant, the Edison. Also, not only the Edison, but oh boy, my brain just took a fart.
Yell at me, and that's what happens.
Yeah, what? Edison, Enzo's Hideaway, and not Mama Melrose. What was the upstairs restaurant?
I know what you're talking about.
Give me the name.
I can't remember the name.
Oh, okay. Oh man. Ooh. Holy moly. And I don't want to look it up. I easily could have Googled it by now. It's just the point. I don't want to Google it. Oh, I can see it. Maria and Enzo's. Thank you, Cindy. Maria.
You owe Cindy.
Yeah. I owe you a slice over at Maria and Enzo's. Yeah, the Edison's cool, man. The Edison is a happening place. Yeah, I mean, Edison, I see Stan over here saying the Edison opened 2017, New Year's Eve of 2017. Yeah, I get that. I mean, technically, there's certain things that we're going to talk about that even had soft openings in 2017, but let's just be fair in saying that it really opened in 2018, just for argument's sake. It's a happening spot, though. There's some cool cat. You got to be a cool cat to hang out in there.
So why were you there?
Because I'm cooler on the other side of the pillow.
My gosh. I'm cooler on the other side of the pillow.
I'm the bee's knees, baby.
Oh,
yeah. And Maria and Enzo's Hideaway is a really happening spot as well. I really enjoyed that.
I was gonna say, I remember you talking about it, and you would not shut up about it.
It was really nice. It was a nice place, and the decor was out of this world.
And I think that's one of those things where it makes the venue, right? It's a place where you want to be. You want to sit there for hours. You want to enjoy the ambiance. You are going to sit there and drink and eat for hours on end, and they're going to roll you out.
Yeah.
You know?
You know what we need to do?
What?
We need that's funny. You're not funny. Not funny at all.
See, she was saying that about you, not for me.
We need a good food episode soon.
There are people that are going to say, well, don't you guys always talk about food? Well, sometimes we talk about specific food.
No, all right. After I get back from March, who am I kidding? We're gonna definitely do a food episode before that, but expect after March a good food episode.
Should we give a little hint to something that might be coming up in 2019 for our listeners?
Yeah, but later.
Okay,
we're not there yet.
I'll shut up. That's why I asked, because I didn't want you to.
I know. I know where you're going. I'm picking up what you're putting down. All right. So, things that might happen. I mean, Disney's Caribbean Beach went through an overhaul, could be fully done in 19. Pop Century's still technically under as they're going through the buildings. Disney's Art of Animation still going on for refurbs. The Riviera Resort, they're slating it to open in 19. I don't see that being possible, but once again, I could be wrong. Yeah, I would say that's probably about it on the park side.
There's still a lot of things that I think there's still a lot of things that were going on this year, and we're only going to touch on a few of those particular items just because there are so many things that went on, and we experienced a slice of those things. I mean, there's still a lot of things to come for 2019, which I'm pretty pumped about. But, overall, a lot of change happened. And I think a lot of change is going to happen this year. And there are I think there's going to be so many changes that happen in this year that no matter when you go, you're going to miss something. And I'm not even talking about Galaxy's Edge. It just seems like whenever you go this year, you're going to miss something. You're going to have to come back next year, or do do two other trips or something like that. It's going to lure people in, and I think that's good. I think that's also going to be a challenge for those of us that go all the time, on a regular basis. So we'll have to see how that works out, man.
All right, let's move over to some of the movies that took place. We'll start with the first one and work our way to the more recent one. It was released in February, Black Panther, which is also now available on Netflix.
I loved that movie. I really did. I thought it was extraordinarily well done, and really enjoyed it. And I thought I was not going to enjoy it as much because I had no idea of the character Black Panther or anything like that. I thought the storyline was excellent.
I didn't want to see it in the theaters. It didn't look good. Saw it on Netflix, and it was a star-studded cast.
Yeah.
And it was just a really good movie. I now understand why it was one of the quickest movies to break 1 billion at theaters.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a fabulous movie.
Now, a movie I did not go see because I didn't have interest in it. And I'll be completely honest when I say that. Was released in March 9th, A Wrinkle in Time.
Yeah, I have not seen it. I started it and then got distracted. So I couldn't. Okay. And when I say started it, I mean literally didn't get past the beginning credits. So I still want to see it. I've heard some people say that it was great. I've heard some people say that it stunk. But being that I did not like the book, I did not like the book at all. It was the one book that I read in grade school that I can honestly say I hated, like with a passion. I hated that book. I hated that book. I hated that book. Possibly because my English teacher at the time was a jerk. And I asked questions about the book and she wouldn't answer.
It was a wrinkle, nothing more.
Oh gosh. But I'm going to go see the movie. I am going to see the movie, and I will let people know what I think when I finally see it.
April 27th, probably, in my opinion, one of the better movies released in this series. Still a big fan of the series, but really enjoyed this one. Avengers: Infinity War.
Just saw it again the other day.
I watched it the other day as well. It is a very good movie. I thoroughly enjoyed that movie.
I think I got more out of it even the second time. I mean, yeah, I knew what happened, but I picked up more of the nuances.
Oh, yeah.
And here's the thing. I'm glad I saw Black Panther before I saw Infinity War.
Yeah, see, and I didn't. So I was a little confused.
I mean, the thing of it is that you didn't have to, but
no,
I think it was
made a little more sense.
A little more fulfilling in order to see that. It was a little bit more of a, I won't call it was not a continuance. You didn't have to, but it did add to the sense of the movie itself. So
yeah. Another movie, it seems like I'm going hit or miss here. This was released on May 25th. I had no interest in watching this, so I did not go see it. Solo, a Star Wars story.
You know, this is one of those movies that, I'll be honest with you, I think the Star Wars fan universe, I really think that they were way too harsh in that movie. And I think because they were way too harsh in the movie, it bled into those that have a casual enjoyment of the Star Wars storylines. I liked the movie. I bought the movie, you know, and so I thought it was good. I thought it was well done. And I know that there's some people that say, oh, it introduced more plot holes, blah, blah, blah. Didn't like it. And, oh, the whole thing was a failure. Come on. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good movie. Was it excellent? Was it one of those movies that was like, you know, no, it was a good origin story. And I liked it.
This is the part of the show where I'm just going to read things and Chris is going to give his critique because I didn't do any of this stuff coming up. June 15th, The Incredibles 2.
Awesome. Awesome movie. Loved it. Let's face it. That was just an excellent movie. In fact, I just watched it again, like over Thanksgiving. It was one of those things. Simply put, one of the best sequels I have seen in a long time.
Okay, fair enough. Another one released. I don't think you saw this on July 6th. Ant-Man and Wasp.
Recently saw it. Didn't see it.
Okay.
Didn't see it. And to be honest with you, it was one of those things. I think we saw it over Thanksgiving break, and we sat down and we watched it, and all of us kind of like, yeah, that was a good movie. I mean, again, Ant-Man was a really good first movie, and sequels are always difficult, and we thought it was a really good sequel. Well played by everybody involved.
Okay. This is a movie I was a little sad I didn't go see, and I know Lindsay will throw a dig here. On August 3rd, Christopher Robin.
Didn't see it yet. I haven't seen it yet.
It looks good.
So I picked it up. I picked it up used over at Disc Replay, so I will be watching it shortly.
Released November 2nd, The Nutcracker and the Four Realms.
I wanted to see it. I never got a chance to see it. I wanted to see it. People said it was kind of a flop. But the fact of the matter is that it was a Christmas movie type of thing that I think that was released a little too early. And I do plan on seeing it when it comes out on video.
Okay. November 21st, Ralph Breaks the Internet. Wreck-It Ralph 2.
Yeah, it broke the internet. And I'm going to just go ahead and say this now. If you went to see Ralph Breaks the Internet and you didn't sit through the whole set of credits, you missed out on one of the funniest things you will ever see. It was funny. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the movie as a whole. And then we were like the only people in the movie theater to watch both end surprises. So if you go get it on video or you rent it on video, you have to do that. Take my word for it. I keep telling people, you paid for the whole movie, you might as well stay for the whole movie. And that was wait well rewarded.
Fair enough. Now, Chris has no opinion on this because he has not seen it, so I will take controls of it. Released December 19th, an atrocity, an absolute demise to a franchise. How dare you, Disney, spoil the good name of Miss Mary Poppins? And that is, once again, Mary Poppins Returns. It was abysmal. It was a terrible movie. They ruined her. No, you stay quiet. I see you trying to talk over there, and no. This movie was atrocious. You ruined a perfectly good storyline. I was even cool with saving Mr. Banks. It was subtle. It was cool. You got to see a little Walt in it. I was all right with it. Then you come out with this nonsense. Rather get hit by a dump truck.
Tell them why, Danny. Tell them why.
Because I didn't realize it wasn't a remake.
Thank you. At least... If we're gonna do anything, we're gonna be truthful in journalism here for a minute, because you win it. And I'm not saying this to rip on you, bro, but Danny actually made the same mistake that I know a lot of people did. They thought it was a remake, so they were expecting Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious being sung. They expected, they expected all these, an actual performance of "Let's Go Fly a Kite." Yes, it's some of those things were subtle and this, that, and the other. So the thing of it is, I said this during the last show when we talked about it, and I'm going to go ahead and say it again. I think people are so wound up about the idea of all these remakes that when the storyline changes and they're doing it a little bit different, we're not ready for it. And I think that's what happened with Mary Poppins Returns. People were thinking it was a remake. It's a second story.
Yeah, just stupid.
I will see it. I don't know when I'm going to see it.
Hand me the $25. I'll sing to you the entire time.
Oh dear God! I will pay you $25 not to sing to me.
I know it was not a remake. Now I know it was not a remake. Thought in the come on! It starts off with a kite, and then I'm waiting for the song, and I'm like, that's interesting. Why would you not start?
I have to ask something though. You went with Lindsay, right?
Yeah.
What did she think?
She knew it wasn't a remake. Oh, she didn't like it either. She thought it was abysmal.
Okay.
Her mom and her friend were there. They did not like it. It was one of those movies where you ever at the movie theater and you're with those crazy people that clap at the end of a movie?
That's me.
Oh, okay. Hold on, real quick. Hold on. This question. Lindsay, if she's watched, she's going to lose her mind. This question is very important because this question will decide if this podcast will ever continue or not. When you're on a plane and it lands, do you clap?
No, I usually wake up.
Oh, thank goodness.
No, I'm usually waking up. I feel the jolt of time to get up.
Oh, people who clap when a plane lands.
I will admit this.
Place for you.
I will admit this. One time I did, though. Everybody did, because it was such a crappy flight and it felt like the plane was being shook loose for the last 20 minutes. We were like, thank you, Lord, for getting us back on the ground. So, yeah, it was a sarcastic clap like, hey, thanks a lot. Could you please taxi what's left of the airplane back to the airport, please? Thank you so much.
But you don't understand. He did a good job. He landed the plane. I'm like, so when the garbage man picks up your garbage and doesn't spill out of your trash, do you applaud him? When I deliver a box to your door, do I just get a standing ovation? Fantastic job.
No, but over the Christmas break, I did pass out plenty of soda and water to those that delivered packages to my door.
All right. So that ends the 2018 movies. Let's move into the 2019 movies slated for April. Avengers Infinity War Part 2 Endgame.
Yeah,
Thanos is gonna be snapping everywhere.
I'm looking forward to it. I saw the teaser. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to pretty much everything that's coming out this year. I mean, it's one of those cases where, I'm part of the Stubbs premiere program. I'm going to be eating a lot of popcorn in 2019. So I'll just leave it at that. A lot of popcorn. No, not a lot of butter. Although I think, you know what my wife does? She'll bring in a little canister, and she'll go ahead and fill it up with the buttered flavored 10W30 that they go ahead and give you, so that when she gets to the middle, she'll just put more butter in the middle, then toss it until all the butter gets stuck at the bottom. Yeah. And Captain Marvel.
Not excited.
And Captain Marvel. So looking forward to that. So looking forward to that.
Hey guys. Hey, it's in order. We're not there yet. Thanks. Jeez. I'm trying to do something nice around here.
What are you doing?
We weren't there yet, Captain Marvel.
Oi, dude, you're killing me.
We're just gonna skip over.
You're killing me, Smalls.
Aladdin comes out sometime in May, and this is a live-action retelling of the 1992 Disney film of the same name with Will Smith. I'm anxious.
I'm anxious too. I think it's going to be. Here's my thing. I think for the most part it's going to be a great movie. I predict that it's going to be a good movie. I also predict that there are a lot of people that are going to. They're going to focus on the fact that it's not Robin Williams.
Yeah,
I just hope people realize no one can replace an artist such as Mr. Williams.
Yeah, it's tough. Something else, we brought up already. Captain Marvel will be released in March. I'm interested.
You are interested?
I'm interested in seeing it.
I thought you said not interested. I'm like, what?
No, I'm interested in seeing it.
I think Brie Larson's going to do a great job at it. I just think that I saw her picture on the cover of Entertainment Weekly a few months back, and I'm like, holy crap, she is the perfect Captain Marvel. And the origin story of what it is set in the 90s. What can go wrong?
Yeah,
a lot of things, but that's
something that will be released. I will be in Disney World for this.
What?
It is slated for March 29th. The Disney Classic is getting a live action reboot starring a very good actor. I think not fairly categorized. I think he's good. Michael Keaton will be in the new Dumbo movie. That will be something I would be interested in seeing. Oh, Bailey, you're going to be down there too. Okay. Let's all go see Dumbo together.
And here's the thing with that. I remember when it first was announced and that Tim Burton was directing it, I said, I'm not really sure I wanted to see it because I'm not a big Tim Burton fan.
You're not a Tim Burton fan at all.
But I saw the trailer. It looks like it's going to be a dark film, but
recognized game.
I'm gonna probably have to change my mind a little bit here when it comes to not liking Tim Burton and put that aside and really look at it from a piece of art. Let's see how it goes.
A movie that we're not going to really touch on, but we have to announce it, is Disney Nature's Penguins will be released in April. Not really much to say on that one.
I'll bet you any money I will probably end up seeing it. I'll probably end up borrowing it from the library. I'll be honest with you.
Okay. On June 20th, if you all wonder where I will be, it is Don't Talk to Uncle Danny Day because Toy Story 4 is coming out, and I'm going to be pumped. I'm bringing my... Oh, by the way, Chris Hiller sent me dope popcorn bucket of the Alien. So I'm bringing that to the movie theater with me. I'm going by myself. Lindsay, you ain't coming. Nobody's coming. I don't want no distractions. I might get the special headphones to put on so I don't have to hear nobody else. And I am going bananas in that movie theater because I've been waiting for this movie. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a tearjerker.
I'm actually going, when the seats get released, for it to be shown at the Dolby Cinema in my area, I will go get center seats for those. I will go. It'll be a special event type of thing. So looking forward to it, and I want the full experience. I'm going to go see it at the best theater in the area, which is an hour away from where I live.
Oh yeah. That's. If Toy Story, like, it's gonna be weird. Like, kind of want to go like a show. There's no little kids, so I'm not like the weirdo in the back, like sobbing, like no. But it's gonna be a heck of a movie. Another movie that I am on the fence about. When I first saw the trailer, I was stoked, and the more I watch the trailer, I'm like, I don't know. And that will be released in July, and that is the remake of The Lion King.
I want to see it. I do want to see it. Okay. I've only seen the trailer. I know that it's a lot of CGI. It's CGI heavy, but it's photorealistic CGI. I don't know why people are already grousing at the idea that it's CGI, and yet people are calling it a live remake. You know what? It's a remake. Just look at it like that.
Yeah.
And see what happens. That's all I have to say. I'm going to go see it. I'll probably really enjoy it. I love the first one. I'm dying to figure out who's going to do all the soundtrack work, because that was one of the iconic movie soundtracks that Disney had during that time, especially with Elton John and Tim Rice doing it. Simple as that.
Artemis Fowl. Did I say that right?
Mm-hmm. And I know nothing about it, but I saw the preview. I'm like, oh, I know nothing about this movie. I'm still want to go see it.
Based off a sci-fi fantasy novel,
Mm-hmm.
this film from director Kenneth Branagh will star Josh Gad. That's literally the synopsis of what they gave me.
It's one of those movies where, quite honestly, I literally know nothing about, yet for some reason that trailer was done so well. I'm like, yes, please.
What else we got? In November, we have Frozen 2. Just let it go.
I have no reason to not see it. Still there.
I still haven't seen the first one, so no distractions other than the movie. Police kicking you out for bringing in your pop. Don't worry about it.
No. He's not going to bring in the popcorn in his movie bucket. He's going to bring the the popcorn bucket so he can take the 3 cubic foot thing of popcorn and put it in himself, and then get the free refills at his local AMC.
I mean, yeah, I'm going to buy their popcorn.
I mean, if Danny happens to have some, I don't know, big thing of peanut M&Ms at the bottom of that to mix in with the popcorn, he can do that too.
That is a champion move. And wrapping up the slate for 2019 in December will be Star Wars Episode 9. So, once again, no opinion. Okay, so that was movies. We touched on a majority of things in the parks. I know there's going to be things people are like, you didn't talk about this. Yeah, there just wasn't enough time. We've actually even gone over an hour at this point.
Do we want to?
So,
what do you want to tell them?
I'm going to pass it to you, and you can relay, because I'm not exactly sure what you're about to say.
Well, I'm going to talk about the thing that you and I tried to do last year, but we're going to try to do this year more seriously. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow us to go ahead and tell you one of our biggest plans for 2019. And right now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that we don't have anything booked. We don't have anything solidified or anything like that. However, Danny and I are starting something of a exploratory mission. Because last year, we tried our best to go during Food and Wine Festival and eat our way around Epcot. And Danny drink his way around Epcot. This year, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to see what we can do about doing it for 2019. Which basically means we may have multiple days of meetups during the Food and Wine Fest at that time. Right now, we have to do some double checking, making sure that it doesn't conflict with schedules for the Indie Disney Meet, which once again, we will be heading down. Dates have changed. Go ahead and check on the WDW community page for more information. But we're going to try to do a whole bunch of live shows directly from Epcot and the Food and Wine Festival. That's our plan. And we are going to try to get that solidified as soon as we possibly can. And we really hope that everybody here that is able to would be able to join us for some of the festivities down there. We will let you know as soon as we know and solidify our plans. But we are actually, last year we kind of planned a little bit late, and now we're talking about it here at the beginning of the year. So yeah, we're going to try that. We're going to try to do it, and we're going to be serious about it. Right now we just need to make sure we can get flights, that we can get good rooms, and so on and so forth. So we're really looking
There's
forward to
going
it.
to be a lot of content that couple. We'll put the amount of days at X because we don't know how long we're going to be partaking. It'll be more than 2, less than 7.
Oh, it'll definitely be less. It'll definitely be less than 7 because I won't have that many tickets left over.
So, and it's probably going to be early October, I would assume, solely based on the new Indie Disney Meet dates due to D23 cramping their style and taking their weekend. So without competing, they moved their dates. So that kind of threw a little bit hindrance in our plans. So then we're going to have to bump ours back to October a little bit. Not the end of the world. But we're talking, we would do shows the 2 nights we were there. We'll be doing shows during the day, live streaming. There'll be a lot of stuff. It's going to be real good. Another thing we would like to announce. Well, let me rephrase this. I'm in the process of doing this. So, all right, I see Allison saying something. Allison, Indy, like Indiana. Yes. Like Fishers, Indiana. There is a thing called the Indie Disney Meet. It is all for charity, to raise money for Give Kids the World. We do our marathon show every year to help support Give Kids the World, and it's associated with them. And they presented their check with what they raised and what we raised, and they were down there in Florida, and they raised
$42,000.
43 grand.
43? I thought it was 42.
43.
Sorry.
$43,000 for them. Yeah. So once again, Chris, Chris talked about, Indie Disney Meet moved. We're going to be doing, a possible food and wine trip. And then the other one is in March. I am trying to figure out days, but I will be doing at least one meetup, trying to do one big meetup. So we're going to be putting some questions out on the community. If you're a local, if you happen to be traveling during said dates, if you would like to partake and answer the questions honestly, and we'll get something. We'll get something set up because it's we're gonna have some fun while we're down there. Man, that's all I got. I think.
Man, like as you could say, a lot happened last year, and we look forward to this year as well. And I'm pretty excited. I know I'm a little tired right now, so don't look as excited as I should be. But I'm really looking forward to what we've got to offer, and I can't wait to spend it with our listening audience. And I just think it's going to be pretty epic.
Yeah, I agree. Mr. Chris, would you take us away?
Absolutely. You heard the show, and we hope you want more. Well, feel free to join us over at our social media platforms. Instagram and our Facebook page can be found at Behind the Ears Podcast. Our webpage is behindtheearspodcast.net, and our email is behindtheearspodcast@gmail.com. And our Twitter handle is @BehindTheEarsPC. And come and join the conversation about all things Disney over at the WDW community page. Don't forget to rate and review the show over at iTunes or Apple Podcasts, as it really helps us get the word out about the show. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the show on iTunes or Apple Podcasts or the Podbean app. Also, you can listen to us on Stitcher Radio, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, and via Alexa and Google Home.
And you just let us bless those ears of yours with another recording of Behind the Ears podcast. We thank you for lending us your ears, because there's a lot of podcasts out there that you could be listening to, and you chose to listen to this one. And that's what helps us, what helped us climb to being the number one ranked Disney podcast among peers and you guys. So we do thank you for that. One last thing.
Yes.
Congratulations to all our 5K runners. I know if you are a 5K runner, you're running the 10K tomorrow, you are not listening to us right now, you are sleeping. And depending on how long it takes to get this episode out, you might be a little bit past the running. So congratulations, you did it. Maybe you didn't do it. It's okay. There's always next year. We train harder. I've got messages for everybody. No, congratulations to everybody who's running, who has ran, who participated, who has loved ones who ran. Big shout out to Jessica, Trisan, all our other big runners in our group. I apologize if I missed you. It's late. Like Chris said, don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms. I hope you all have a wonderful and safe weekend. If you're getting snow this weekend, drive safe. If you're not getting snow this weekend, well, God bless you. Once again, I am Uncle Danny. Don't forget to tuck your kids in tight, wear your seatbelts, and hey, do something nice for somebody this weekend. I'm Uncle Danny. I'm out.
And I'm Mr. Chris. Thank you for joining us. We really super appreciate all of your love and support. We'd love you guys right back. And we're just really glad to have you here as a part of our podcast family. But until we meet again, we hope that you have an awesome and magical day. Take care.